Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good morning, friends. It's me, Angel Wallace. Today is September 22nd, 2020. It is now 10:17 a.m. where I live. It's a beautiful day and it's very noisy. Today we can actually see a blue hue in the sky. We've been seeing nothing but a gray haze, and today it seems like we've gotten some clarity here from the smoke that's been coming over from the California border. And that's a good thing. So I'm hoping they got some rain, or the good Lord answered our prayers. And, it's pretty sad that people hate America and they hate Trump so bad that they're willing to go to any lengths to take down our beautiful country. Isn't that sad? When I saw those fires over in California, it just reminds me of like Satan's lair, all the evil is just showing its teeth because they're at the very last, the Green Mile, let's put it that way. They're at the Green Mile and they know their demise is coming. How long that mile is, that's what they're dreading. So that's why all the evil is rearing its ugly, and soon that'll be gone. We have to keep our faith, because faith is what carries us on. And when you're with God, you don't have to worry about anything because He's got it all under control. All you have to do is just love Him and praise Him and thank Him. And it's amazing what He does for you. Boy, if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be afloat. I'd be out there wandering, probably destroying myself. And I chose not to do that. So today I want to read this prayer. Well, it's not a prayer, it's like a passage from God Calling, A.J. Russell. He's the one that had it publicized, but it was actually written by two spinsters. Joy Tribute. Jesus, our Lord, we thee adore. Sing unto me from a glad heart. Sing and praise my holy name. Praise is man's joy tribute to me. And as you praise, thrills of joy surge through your being. And you learn something of the joy of the heavenly host. And it is so true, and it's such a great feeling. And that's why I say stay close to the Lord, because my God, just, if you just say His name, it's like, it's like a refreshment that comes over you. You know He's here. He's with you. He's in your heart. He's in that little private place that we all have deep down in our little soul that nobody knows anything about but us. And that's where we go visit Him. So whenever you're blue, get yourself away from anything noise, and just go and relax. You know what I do at night after I've been, exhausted all day long from either sitting in a freaking chair researching, and I only get I get up to a stretch and get a cup of coffee or whatever I need, and it takes a toll. And so what I do at the end of the evening is I sit myself very, very close to the headboard, and then I bring my legs up and I lean them up against the wall. So my back is laying on the bed, my legs are up, my butt's facing the headboard, and my legs are straight up. And you do that for 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, it's just it's like a cleansing almost, and your blood goes back to where it needs to be. It's not sitting there in your legs because you've been on them or you've been sitting on them, or you give opportunity for your body. And it also draws that belly in. So, it's a good way to stretch those muscles for 20 minutes, and you don't have to do anything vigorous. It's just, laying there and enjoying the moment. Close your eyes and think about the Lord. Thank Him. Think about your day. Think about the little things that He gives us to enjoy. And those are the best moments ever. It's not buying, it's not money, it's nothing. It's that little joy with Him. And it's the best ever. Okay, and so with that, I happen to be on Twitter today. And Trump's given a speech to the United Nations. It says, President Trump delivers remarks to the United Nations General Assembly. America is fulfilling our destiny as peacemaker. Let's listen.
It is my profound honor to address the United Nations General Assembly. 75 years after the end of World War II and the founding of the United Nations, we are once again engaged in a great global struggle. We have waged a fierce battle against the invisible enemy, the China virus, which has claimed countless lives in 188 countries. In the United States, we launched the most aggressive mobilization since the Second World War. We rapidly produced a record supply of ventilators, creating a surplus that allowed us to share them with friends and partners all around the globe. We pioneered life-saving treatments, reducing our fatality rate 85% since April. Thanks to our efforts, 3 vaccines are in the final stage of clinical trials. We are mass producing them in advance so they can be delivered immediately upon arrival. We will distribute a vaccine. We will defeat the virus. We will end the pandemic. And we will enter a new era of unprecedented prosperity, cooperation, and peace. As we pursue this bright future, we must hold accountable the nation which unleashed this plague onto the world, China. In the earliest days of the virus, China locked down travel domestically while allowing flights to leave China and infect the world. China condemned my travel ban on their country, even as they canceled domestic flights and locked citizens in their homes. The Chinese government and the World Health Organization, which is virtually controlled by China, falsely declared that there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission. Later, they falsely said people without symptoms would not spread the disease. The United Nations must hold China accountable for their actions. In addition, every year, China dumps millions and millions of tons of plastic and trash into the oceans, overfishes other countries' waters, destroys vast swaths of coral reef, and emits more toxic mercury into the atmosphere than any country anywhere in the world. China's carbon emissions are nearly twice what the U.S. has, and it's rising fast. By contrast, after I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord, last year America reduced its carbon emissions by more than any country in the agreement. Those who attack America's exceptional environmental record while ignoring China's rampant pollution are not interested in the environment. They only want to punish America, and I will not stand for it. If the United Nations is to be an effective organization, It must focus on the real problems of the world. This includes terrorism, the oppression of women, forced labor, drug trafficking, human and sex trafficking, religious persecution, and the ethnic cleansing of religious minorities. America will always be a leader in human rights. My administration is advancing religious liberty, opportunity for women, the decriminalization of homosexuality, combating human trafficking, and protecting unborn children. We also know that American prosperity is the bedrock of freedom and security all over the world. In 3 short years, we built the greatest economy in history, and we are quickly doing it again. Our military has increased substantially in size. We spent $2.5 trillion over the last 4 years on our military. We have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. We stood up to decades of China's trade abuses. We revitalized the NATO alliance, where other countries are now paying a much more fair share. We forged historic partnerships with Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador to stop human smuggling. We are standing with the people of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela in their righteous struggle for freedom. We withdrew from the terrible Iran nuclear deal and imposed crippling sanctions on the world's leading state sponsor of terror. We obliterated the ISIS caliphate 100%, killed its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi, and eliminated the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. This month we achieved a peace deal between Serbia and Kosovo. We reached a landmark breakthrough with 2 peace deals in the Middle East after decades of no progress. Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain all signed a historic peace agreement in the White House, with many other Middle Eastern countries to come. They are coming fast, and they know it's great for them and it's great for the world. These groundbreaking peace deals are the dawn of the new Middle East. By taking a different approach, we have achieved different outcomes, far superior outcomes. We took an approach, and the approach worked. We intend to deliver more peace agreements shortly, and I have never been more optimistic for the future of the region. There is no blood in the sand. Those days are hopefully over. As we speak, the United States is also working to end the war in Afghanistan, and we are bringing our troops home. America is fulfilling our destiny as peacemaker, but it is peace through strength. We are stronger now than ever before. Our weapons are at an advanced level like we've never had before, like frankly, we've never even thought of having before. And I only pray to God that we never have to use them. For decades, the same tired voices proposed the same failed solutions, pursuing global ambitions at the expense of their own people. But only when you take care of your own citizens will you find a true basis for cooperation. As president, I have rejected the failed approaches of the past, and I am proudly putting America first, just as you should be putting your countries first. That's okay. That's what you should be doing. I am supremely confident that next year, when we gather in person, we will be in the midst of one of the greatest years in our history, and frankly, hopefully, in the history of the world. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless the United Nations.
Wow, that was one of the most powerful speeches I've heard ever. And it covers so much ground. He is taking a stand and has told the people, this is what we've accomplished, this is where we're at, and he foresees a brighter future for everyone. He's making deals around the world as he got all the leaders to concede, and now they're coming to the table. And we saw that the other day when he had a couple of the countries come in. I can't remember what they were. I did a video on them, but he got them to do some signing. So you're going to see more and more of that happening. He's also bringing out the fact of human and child sex trafficking, and he also reiterated the fact that children are no longer up to be just discarded, to be aborted, or to even think of being aborted when they're still in the human body. So he's already drawn the line, and that's where it's going to be, and that's where it's going to stand. He's told the American people, and it was a very, very positive speech, and it just tickles the heck out of me, because it's such a wonderful feeling knowing which way that the whole world is in the direction that we're going into, and it's going to be a peaceful one. He's telling you, we're not going to do the bloodsheds no more. That's a thing of the past. And now we're going to be friends, and we're going to love one another, and we're going to respect one another, and we're not going to be bullying people for what they are, okay? And that's nonsense, because we're all human, and we're all here by the same Creator. And our job was to multiply and to love and to help. And we need to get away from all the man-made foods, clothing that we know where they come from. We need to stop buying at these places, and we need to stop eating foods other than raw, because you have no idea what they're putting into those foods. And a lot of those foods your body can't process. And that's why a lot of people are overweight. So that's why it's important. You need to take care of yourself. And fasting is really important. That was important in the Catholic religion. And now, before I saw it as like a punishment, or not a punishment, but you had to give up something to get something. Like you're showing your appreciation by giving something up that you truly, truly, truly enjoy, and that's eating. We all like to eat, right? So you're sacrificing, and that's what it was in the Catholic Church. But in reality, your stomach is the one that controls everything in your body. So you have to take care of your stomach, and then it in itself will start taking care of all the others, like the liver and the gallbladder and the intestines. But that's where our whole being lies, is in the stomach and what we put into it. So I also wanted to kind of stress the fact that we need to stop with the negativity. We need to rise above that. And a lot of what is going out there now that you see are just scare tactics, and you don't need that, because you should be above that. Okay, that shouldn't be like a surprise to you. You should say, okay, it's more fake news, or I know different from information that I've seen or I've researched, and you can verify that yes, that is true, and move on with those. And we need to get above that. We need to just start being more positive, and start saying more prayers for the children, because every day that we grow stronger together, we recover much sooner. And all the negativity will stay in another dimension, and we have already going to be rising above that. We are already going into the fourth dimension, if that means anything to anybody. And for those that don't, do a little Google, or do a little DuckDuckGo. That's what I use. And it opens more doors under that search engine. Right now I'm working on my new website, and you're going to love it. I love it. And Oscar and I have been working close to work out the little glitches. But right now I'm uploading all the information up to my website so that I can give you a full perspective of what's going on, and providing you with some search engines, and being able to go directly to QPosts, and you'll be able to see all my movies that were banned from YouTube. And you're going to find them fascinating. And they banned them from me because they don't want you to know what's going the truth. You know, they just don't want you to know. They think we're still stupid and we're half asleep. But those that follow me know different. At least 99% of you do. There's still a few that are still inquisitive, and that's a good thing because that's what gets you motivated. That's what gets you to start opening your mind, and that's what the whole purpose is of this movement. Because see, we have been hypnotized all these years since we were little kids. They have told us everything. These are the churches you go to. These are the clothes you wear. These are the people you listen to. This is what you're going to do. This is how you have to give your money away. This is how hard you have to work. And here's a religion that we want you to believe in, even though it's not the true one. And, you know, and then we'll divide you all up into different religions because, you know, some of you just don't get it. So it's okay. Just go ahead and, you know, develop something of your own. And in the meanwhile, we're just going to run our satanic religion above that, and our cult's going to literally run this world. And that's what's going on. And for those of you younger generations, I happen to have a grandson that's 20, and he loves to watch various things on YouTube, or he likes to play these games. It is fascinating to find that there is a cartoon storyline, and the name is Rick and Morty. And it is a cartoon, but oh my gosh, it is hilarious. And it also gives you insight into what is actually going on in the world. It's like Simpsons. Simpsons was always providing you or me with things about what were going to be happening in the future. Okay, so they were doing some predictions on the Simpsons show. Go to the Simpsons.com, whatever, and go look at all the videos. And if you don't ever see something that's already occurred, but they told you about it like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because they've been on for quite some time, you'll find that they have been telling us all along. Same with Hollywood. Okay, Hollywood made movies based on what is already being and what they already know and what cures have already been developed and whether or not there's even space, you know. You got to remember that there's two sides to everything. So they do the mirror effect. If you say up, they say down. If you say straight, they say narrow. It just that's just the way they are in their thinking and the way they are in their world, you know. That's their world. So I just wanted to express that. I just wanted to again remind everyone that it's very important to stay smart because we have a lot of people out there that are giving you false information, and we do have at least three known YouTubers that are kind of giving you good information but with a little bad information. And what that does is that confuses people. So then people are going, no, I've seen this different. No, I've seen that different. Then pretty soon you're getting into an argument. That's what they do. They stir the bucket, okay? So please be very, very careful of who you follow. And a lot of people are in it for the money, okay? And it's sad but true, and they ruin it for a lot of other people. So just remember that the battle is, we're in the storm right now, and they're fighting. And like I say, they're walking the green mile. And they know what's coming up, so they're giving everything they've got. And so just be wary and discern, use discernment, and you determine whether that article is right or wrong. And check it out. If you have to question it, check it out. And, so that's how you find out information, and that's how you can verify other people. Instead of just, well, how do you know? Where'd you get that? do something for yourself too. Because if you don't, you won't believe anybody. You have to open your eyes. That's what this whole event is all about, is getting away from the hypnotic training that we have been going through all our lives. And that has to end it. And it ended 4 years ago. Those of us that fell into it, we understand it. Those of you that are still learning, that's a wonderful thing. But if you're going to question, then you need to research. Okay? There's a good and a bad. There's two sides to everything. So if you're going to question, you better have an answer to it. Or if you're going to argue with somebody, you better have something to back it up with. Not to be mean, just to be honest. Because we're truth seekers. That's all we're spreading is truth. And I see that there's more and more YouTubers that are sprouting their wings, and that's great. Because everybody sees a different perspective in this battle. And do you feel like things are lifting up a little lighter? You need to stop watching TV, and you need to stop spreading negativity. Only spread the good, because you got to show people how we're going forward now. We're moving forward. So that's what we need to do. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say today, and I just want to say thank you for hanging in there with me and being so patient. It's really hard work to put a website together, and I had one on my own, and it was so unuser friendly. I told him, I says, there's no way I can even use this. You don't have even a panel that you can go and work from. It was all guessing games, and so I lost money in those because they make you pay up front, and then you have to buy your domain name, and you have to buy your domain your phone number, everything that's connected to that website, so that you can provide all the necessary information you need for the people that are going to come to visit. It's a business, it's like a business. I work on these things 18 hours a day, not only researching, but trying to do my own web page, and it was difficult. So I had a wonderful gentleman by the name of Oscar Morales, and he came to my rescue, and he set up my website, and it's a beautiful thing. It's wonderful, and we're going to be having a grand opening for it, him and I, and it'll be a wonderful thing. And right now I'm uploading, I have like over 150 videos that I have to upload, and that all takes time. So I'm trying my best to work as many hours as I can and still try to get my rest, so that I can come to you with fresh thoughts and fresh mind. I don't want to be like Biden. By the way, have you seen all the little Biden things that are going around? And did you see Trump? Somebody did something of Trump, and he was doing like rap about Pelosi, and it was hilarious. So got to keep it light, kids, because remember, we've won the war, and everything's already in his hands. And this speech verifies everything, all the information that we've been pushing for these last few years. And everything that we've known back then has already come to fruition. And so that just solidifies everything that we've been researching and lets us know that we're on the right track. So we're winning, and we're not going to stop winning. We're going to keep winning. And his rallies are getting bigger and bigger and larger, and the people, I mean, oh my gosh, they're just they're ready. We're all ready for peace in the world. And did you hear him? He's covering the world. He's not going to let anybody down. He's not going to leave anyone behind. And we're all going to recover. We're going to have 1,000 beautiful, wonderful, peaceful, and prosperity for 1,000 years. He's promised us that. And this is the end of the demons, the devil, the satanics. Their world, they're gone. They're going to be buried deep into the pits of hell. That was already promised to us. So be happy. Pray for the children, because that's an everyday thing. Remember, you still have parents out there that are wackos, and they're evil, and they do nasty things with their kids, okay? And they hurt them. And those are the ones we still have to keep praying for. Yes, the ones that are being rescued. And yes, because Australia, man, they went in there and found a huge underground system. And thousands, millions probably of children. So, yeah, that takes time to unload. That takes time to bring the children out to face the battle with what's down there, because you don't know what's down there. I don't know what's down there because I'm not there. Nobody knows except for those military men that are down there doing the rescuing. They are the only ones that'll know what it's like down there. Once in a while they slip a photo that passes around. Now whether it's directly from them, I don't know. But who can make up a lot of photos like that? It's disgusting. So it just goes to show you, whether it's man-made or not, we still got disgusting things in this world. And that's what we got to get rid of. So we got to keep our bright lights, and we got to, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, and I'm going to let it shine. Yeah, so we got to do that. We got to be happy, and we got to love one another. Because I love all of you. And I don't know you by face, but I know you by your presence, because I can feel it. I sense it. And don't let anybody tell you any different. It's true. If you don't believe it, start a channel. Get people to follow you and tell me that you don't feel their energy and they feel your energy. Okay? Because we're all related. Hello? I've been telling you that. It's a great day today. So be watching out for one of these days. My wonderful webpage will be done, and I still want to show you the part 2 of Hitler. Because you saw the first part, but the second part is amazing. And I also have the second part to the children. I was doing a video on the children, and they brought it down, and I had to pre-record it because they literally just took it off, and I had to go into my archives to pull information back out to redo it. So I got that done, and a couple others that I will not release on YouTube because I know they'll just get taken down. Let's move on. Okay, so I was going through some more of my Twitter tweets. And this is from True Grit Graham 6%. And so it says, so this is the clown telling Tam Tam what to say to Canadians. Isn't that special? But it was actually Vincent Kennedy who posted this. It says, wait, who? Até o presidente da OMS decidiu do isolamento, whatever that means. But anyway, here he is. And look at him just having a grand old time shaking his booty. Let's take a listen. Isn't that the most hilarious thing you have ever seen? Ah! Oh my goodness. So Vincent says, have no idea if it's him, but funny is funny. It is awesome. That is hilarious. So someone posted this. It says to Vincent, It says, Napoleon, is that you? Get back. No, no, no. It ain't me, babe. It ain't me you're looking for, babe. And it was from Bob Dylan. That's funny. I would say today we have some outside interference, and I hope you don't have to hear too much what's going on. This was posted from the Average Guy Patriot, and it says Obama paid $1.3 billion to Iran 2 days after paying $400 million in cash to Tehran. 13 separate payments of $99,999,999.99 and final payment of about $10 million. No explanation for odd amounts, no congressional approval. Why right before the end of term? Not legit. And CBS News has this.
Well, today the White House is facing a lot of Republican criticism after it confirms that a $400 million cash payment was made to Iran, and it was in fact contingent on the release of American prisoners. Now, it was the first time the State Department acknowledged that fact. The 4 U.S. hostages were released in January, seen here the same day of the money drop-off in Iran. Now, one of them was Washington Post Tehran Bureau Chief Jason Rezaian. Many critics, including Donald Trump, have called it a ransom payment. CBS News Foreign Affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan joins me now to break this all down. So, it is not U.S. policy to pay ransom. How is this different?
Well, President Obama is getting some pushback because he was adamant when he said that just a few weeks ago, that this was absolutely not ransom and that the U.S. handed over cash because Iran's banking system's cut off, so they couldn't pay them any other way. The thing that is tricky on this is the timeline that the Wall Street Journal was able to piece together, which sort of forced the hand of the State Department to acknowledge, well, there was some linkage here. Yes, the negotiations for these 3 things, the nuclear deal, the prisoners, and this failed arms deal from 35 years ago. That's what the money was linked to. $400 million in Iranian cash returned to it, plus interest from U.S. taxpayer money. So the $400 million cash was loaded onto a plane in Geneva, and that plane wasn't allowed to take off until the American prisoners were put on the plane in Tehran. And so it's that exact timing, that sort of orchestration and choreography that raised some eyebrows here, because the White House did acknowledge the $1.7 billion payment, the $400 million up front, but they didn't really acknowledge that choreography because perhaps it would raise some questions, like we're getting now from a lot of Republican critics saying, look, call it what you want, but it looks a heck of a lot like ransom.
Was it ransom? Was it just the proper use of leverage? They want the money. They have some people that we want. Let's make it work together.
But what we know, besides the political heat on this, is what was happening behind the scenes. This was extremely complicated and diplomatic achievement just to get to the nuclear deal. So on the same day the nuclear deal goes into effect, the U.S. signs this agreement to pay the $1.7 billion to finalize a 36-year dispute over a failed arms deal, and they get the prisoners back. So you have John Kerry and Javad Zarif at the negotiating table hammering this out. Meanwhile, back in Tehran, the people who were actually holding the American prisoners hostage started to play some games, American diplomats say. The parents, the mother of Jason Rezaian and Jason Rezaian's wife, all of a sudden disappeared at the airport. So all of this is supposed to take place January 16th. It doesn't actually happen until the 17th. And what the State Department would say is, look, all this was so complicated on so many levels, we needed leverage. So we said, you're not getting the money until these guys are on the plane and you're out. So the plane's literally crisscrossed in the sky. So in defense of the diplomats, they'd say, look, we had to use what leverage we had. Of course, it's a matter of perspective, because Iranians will say this was ransom. The IRGC, their military arm, says that, and Republican critics are saying that too.
Perspective is everything. Thank you very much, Margaret Brennan.
Senator Mitt Romney says he won't block the vote on Trump SCOTUS's nominee. This was a post by not-so-plain patriotic Jane, the backup. And this is from ABC News, U.S. elections. Let's listen.
I'm not going to look at all the hypotheticals that might occur, but I've laid out what I intend to do, and that would be dependent upon, or not, excuse me, not dependent upon the timing. I don't know whether the decision will be made before or after the election, meaning the final vote will be before or after the election.
Would you be all right if the final vote was before the election? Would you have a problem with that?
Well, my statement applies to the current circumstance, which means the timing will be decided by the Judiciary Committee and the majority leader as to when it gets to the floor.
But if Biden wins, you'd be okay with a vote in a lame duck session if Biden wins?
I'm not going to get into the particulars of who wins and who doesn't.
That's a very possible.
There are many possibilities that we could go through. I've indicated that what I intend to do is to proceed with the consideration process, and if a nominee actually reaches the floor, then I will vote based upon the qualifications of that nominee.
Looking back at 2016, do you disagree with your party's decision to stop Merrick Garland?
I wasn't there. I think there's some perception on the part of some writers and others that, gee, what happened with Merrick Garland was unfair. I don't agree with that. I don't know whether you think it was a good decision or not, but it wasn't unfair because it was consistent with history. It was consistent with precedent. It was consistent with the Constitution. So the idea that the Merrick Garland decision was unfair and therefore it has to be made up by doing something which also wouldn't make a lot of sense, which is saying to President Trump, you can't get your nominee either, that just doesn't follow for me. The Garland decision was consistent with history. The decision to proceed with the new nominee is also consistent with history and precedent, and that's where I come out.
Senator Romney, I know you said you will assess the nominee on his or her qualifications, but the president does have a list of 40 people out, and he's made it very clear that his nominee will always come from that list. Have you studied everyone on that list? Would you support anyone on that list?
I have not studied the full list, nor have I done the qualification evaluation that I would want to do before I decided to support anyone in that list. I presume there's at least one or two on that list that I would support, and there may be one or two that I wouldn't, but I haven't looked at their qualifications to make that judgment. But I will before the process is complete. I haven't reviewed her judicial record to this point, and we'll look forward to doing so if she's the nominee.
Thanks very much. We're going to go to
I'll send it out to the
Okay, so that was from ABC News live stream coverage. And so I'm thinking, did Trump and McConnell put the squeeze on Romney? Even though he's not coming out to actually say, isn't it amazing how they bounce around the question? But he's saying that if, the nominee's out there that he's going to go with, or I don't know. And then it leaves it open to discussion because, he says, well, I have to look over the qualifications. He's going along with, yes, I'll go along with it, but I got to look at the qualifications. So, that's how they talk. So I don't know. You make a decision on your own based on what you heard. So here's some interesting information that I found from John F. Kennedy Jr. And it says, only humans can. He's responding to these two people. Only humans can. The rest are clones stuck in a matrix. The same people who said 18 are the ones calling me a LARP. Go figure. It's because your pineal gland is under their control. And hashtag Vril, hashtag reptilians. Now I wanted to upload this so that you can see. It says, this is from educateyourself.org. So I'll leave you a link to, this so that you can see and read about it. It says droning occurs when a vril injects its quill. It's a proboscis into the human eye. It's like a horn. And where the lizard parasite takes over the human host brain. It is terribly painful for the human being until the human consciousness dies and the virile parasite consciousness is in full control. All or most memory and ability of former human is retained, and the lizard consciousness now mimics the former human's behaviors. The former human is now a drone. These are the people that are used by Vril to infiltrate governments, religious, legal, and financial systems, organizations, and or corporations. It is not uncommon for male or female drones to lose their hair at a younger age. Intelligence seems a little decreased with a minimal capacity, if any, to understand sarcasm and or dry humor. Offspring have increased risk of various birth abnormalities, and drones often seem incapable of empathy, sympathy, and can quite often display psychotic behaviors. Now that sure sounds like the entire Democratic Party, doesn't it? And the Hollywood, CIA, the Vatican. It says drones enjoy perversion, sexual deviance, and self-gratification. The drone will seem to be an ill human until fully recovered from the parasitical infection, which takes varying degrees of time, but is usually minimal. The eye that was droned with the proboscis will be affected and sometimes never fully recovers, leaving the affected eye to seem different from the other. Most drones appear completely normal and walk among us undetected, and the eye is usually a little lazier on one side than the other. Most drones appear completely normal and walk among us undetected. The viral proboscis connects with human eye and releases a foamy substance where the parasite injects itself into the human brain. The unfortunate human suffers temporary agony. Once the parasite is effectively in the brain, the human ceases to exist and the vril is in full control of its host body. The age-old Eye of Horus symbol represents the age-old droning, ensure the vril agenda continues successfully, and the fearful and or willing compliant humans effectively aid them in their mission. Until now, drones do not have lizard eyes. There are no major or obvious physical changes to the human body. The only change is that the human consciousness has ceased to exist, and the vril consciousness is now in control of the body. And that's what's called the visible enemy. The invisible enemy. So is that what President Trump is actually talking about when he's talking about the invisible enemy? Yes. It's all the deep state, the Pelosi's, the Waters, all those Democrats, all the Vatican, everybody that's with this group, are known as the visible enemy. So to the people that are not awake to this, the invisible enemy to them is, they hear, would be the virus being the invisible enemy. They're hearing it as a virus for the people that are not fully awake. Okay, so remember I told you that Trump talks in various levels? Okay, so the invisible enemy has two meanings. One is the deep state. The dronings, they fall into that same category. And then the invisible enemy on the surface is the virus, the COVID-19. Okay, here's what a vril looks like. See, this is his hibiscus, or whatever they call that. Proboscis. This is that protruding thing there. And they put that into the eye with a foam. See right there? And the foam gets in there, and then it works its way to the back. There's your pineal gland, and it works its way to the back of the head. And it takes over your consciousness. And down here's your pituitary gland, right there, where the red line is, where that red arrow is. So you see all of them that have been taken over. So they're not clones, they're vrils. They're drones. Okay, so now I've learned something new. These are drones. Amazing. The Black Eye Club. And who is punching him? This guy. The vril. Because it injects its quill, which is this. It's called a proboscis, into the human eye here. And then it works its way all the way from the eye, all the way back. And that's what the iHorse reminds you of. Very interesting, isn't it? Okay, well, that's all I have for today. It's 11:21 a.m. and I got to get back to working on my website, and I usually put in about 13 hours a day on that because I have so much to do. I'm hoping that soon I'll be out of jail with my Angel Wallace, my initial channel. But until then, and it should be any day now, so I'm going to try to upload this today and see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll have to go to Angel's Corner. Please follow me there on YouTube. Angel's Corner. That's where I'm currently now uploading my videos on. And until I get out of jail, I've not been able to send any live or any posts or any videos on Angel Wallace, my original channel. So that's it for today. I just wanted to keep you posted on what's going on, and I found these very interesting, and I know you will too, and I love you all. And I can't take donations right now, I'm sorry, but they kicked me out of PayPal. I don't know why. They didn't give me an explanation other than we saw some bad activity. Well, the only activity was the money that was being moved to the account, just as it's supposed to be, because that's how it's set up. That's how they make you set it up. So there was nothing there that caught anybody's eye. I mean, it was just because they're all, I found out that they are connected to YouTube. They're all under the same thing. So if they're pounding me on YouTube, definitely they're going to take my privileges away from PayPal. So I'll never be able to use PayPal ever again. So now I got to find a secondary means of setting up. And I did a Patreon page, and I just got to finish that up before I can do that. But the Patreon page is can be an awesome spot to go to, because you can hear things like those 3 videos that I wasn't able to upload, things like that. I could post those over there, and you'd be able to go over there and listen in on the juicy stuff that they don't want you to know about, because it's all true. That's the only reason why they're blocking us, because what we're saying is truth. We're the star seeds. We're the ones that plant the truth, and you can either take it and run with it, or you can, shrug your head on it. So my grandson told me, Granny, he said, there's 3 people. He says, you got to remember this. He said, there's the people that are awake, and they see what's going on, and they act accordingly. He says, then you got those people that are still sleeping. He says, and they're busy watching the news, and they're still being programmed. He says, then you got the third party. He says, and those are the people that know, but they still bury their heads, because they'd rather live in their little perfect worlds than address something that's so evil. And I'd never thought about it before that way, but you know what? That makes sense to me. Okay, love you, see you, bye.